Hi, it's day 3 Vlogmas. My name is Melissa, and if you're new here, I am the founder and dyer behind Storyteller Stitchery. So, hand-dyed yarn, fibre, floss, silk floss, things like that. All of my colorways are inspired by stories, and we have like a crafty monthly book club with it's called Storyteller Stitchery Society, and so every month we pick a different book and put together a whole collection with a exclusive colorway and, you know, tea cocktail recipe and a themed stitch marker and all this fun stuff. So yeah, today is day 3 Vlogmas, and it is already like 10 past 4. I'm in Arizona, so we are on Mountain Standard Time, but 10 past 4 already before I'm pulling the camera out. It's been a busy day of just shipping things, getting caught up on shipping after our sale that we had running this past weekend, and I did have some orders as well from before that to go out. So yeah, if you are a new customer, we had a lot of first-time customers this weekend, so thank you for ordering from us, and it means a lot. And some of you left some lovely notes. It was fun looking through some of your notes. So some of you we'd met at SoCal Fiber Festival right before, like the weekend before Thanksgiving, and you'd, you know, shopped our booth there, and then we'll place some more orders for the part of the sale. So it's just you know, it's just wonderful to read those notes and to see customers coming back for more, and then also new customers. So it's always exciting putting together the orders and shipping them out. So, and I appreciate you shopping with us over Black Friday weekend. I know there's, you know, a lot of options out there. So anyway, so that's what I've been up to this morning, is shipping and working on that. And so today we'll open the Storyteller Stitchery Advent again. We've opened it the last 2 days on these Vlogmas videos, so we'll open again today. And today is another yarn and fibre day. And then I've got some books to share. So the last 2 days we looked at fiction, but today I'm sharing some non-fiction books. So I think it might be a little bit of a shorter video today. I'll share a little bit of footage, but it's just another working day, not too much festive stuff happening. So let's start with the Advent. So if you've watched any of the other videos, you have already seen this tote, but this is the tote we put together to hold the Advent. I just wanted to have something that was, you know, something that could be used kind of longer term, like a little project bag, and to kind of minimize, like, you know, Advent packaging that would just go right into the landfill. So the theme is Adventures in Wonderland, and we did a yarn Advent and a fibre Advent. And sorry, I'm getting distracted. I'm looking at the bag. So we did a yarn Advent and a fibre Advent, and you could also choose the yarn and fibre combination. So some folks will have yarn today, some will have fibre, and then some will have 2 packets to open. So we're going to open the 2 packets. So for the yarn, we have this tonal green, and the pattern, the knitting pattern that came in the Advent is for a colorwork cowl. So it's a surprise. Like, I didn't include a picture of the finished cowl, so that when you open your yarn every day, it's a surprise what the color is. But it's no surprise that it's a colorwork cowl. That's obvious when you look at the pattern. So no spoilers with that. But on the first, which was Sunday, you got the red yarn to cast on and start knitting the ribbing. And then today is actually a small amount of knitting, because you are moving into starting with this color, but there's not a lot of knitting to do before you kind of pause until the 5th when you open your next yarn and start your color work. So yeah, anyway, that is the yarn for today, and then the fiber. Is also the tonal green, and so some days the yarn and the fiber doesn't quite match up, but some days it does. So obviously the 1st and the 3rd we have the red, and then now we have this tonal green. But the fiber today is Corriedale, so the last fiber was merino, this one is Corriedale. It's also a 1 ounce bundle. So I included 6 different breeds of fiber in the advent on the 12 days that you get fiber. So you get 2 different days of the same fiber, just so that everybody has a chance to kind of explore and spin new fibers, but to do it any way that they want. So if they want to keep Corriedale plied with Corriedale, you have the option to do that. But you could also, you know, we had merino on Sunday, you could ply Corriedale and merino, like you could do any combination. And so I really wanted it to be open to where you can kind of really explore with colors and try different colors and try different breeds, like, you know, breeds of sheep, and then, you know, put them together and ply them any way that you like. And you could also ply them just with each other if you want to just have yarn that is, you know, single breed, single color. Everybody gets to make the yarn that they want to make. So yeah, so Corriedale, this was actually the fiber that we used in November's Storyteller Stitchery Society Club as well, and it's the first time I've included Corriedale, but I think it's a lovely one because I mean, it's great for spinning. It's also great for felting, so if you wet felt or needle felt, it's a good one for that. All of the fibers that I you know, dye are non-superwash, so if you are a needle felter, you can definitely use any of the, or wet felting. If you're a felter, you can use any of them. But I like the Corriedale because it is like, it has a little bit more like grip to it. Like, it's not as smooth and slippery as say merino. And so if you're a new spinner, you're probably going to find it a little bit easier. I think it also has like a slightly longer staple length, so it's going to be a little bit easier to draft. So especially for like I say, for a new spinner, you might find that you enjoy spinning this one a lot more than the merino. But yeah, a little bit about Corriedale. So it was, so Corriedale wool comes from crossing merino and Lincoln breeds back in the late 19th century, and then they were first brought to the US in 1914, so they've been around in the US for a long time. And it's just, you know, it's a good, like, it's not as, like I said, it's not as soft as merino, which means if you're thinking about the finished item, it's not going to be as soft for like next to skin you know, cowls or things like that, but it is definitely like a medium to fine wool. Like, it's not at all scratchy. So I know I do carry some that are much more, you know, they're that higher micron and much more kind of rustic feeling, like the Southdown and the Cheviot, and so they are great for like harder wearing items. So like if you want to make some socks, Southdown. And I know when you first feel Southdown in the braid, it can feel like, you know, you tend to get a lot of, especially with the indie dyers, a lot of like the very soft fiber and the blends that have like some silk in and things like that, which are great, they're like beautiful. But if you're thinking about finished products, like, it can be fun to try some of the other like breeds that are maybe more like the wool is more hard wearing or appropriate to that. So anyway, Corriedale doesn't fall into that category. It is not like a, you know, like a Southdown or a Cheviot, but it is not as soft as the merino, but still a really lovely spin, and it'll make lovely wool, lovely yarn, sorry, it'll make lovely yarn that you can definitely knit, you know, hats, mittens. You could, I mean, this is a small amount, but in larger quantities it would make lovely blankets. Cushions, it's going to pill a lot less than merino, so something that might have like a little bit of abrasion, like a cushion, it would be, you know, good for that. And then those higher micron wools that we talked about, like the, you know, Cheviot, they would be great for like cushion covers and things as well. So anyway, that is the fibre. And I think, so one of the other things that I'm doing in Vlogmas is talking about a different book every day. And so just to kind of, you know, I love books, as I know many of you do. I love books so much that and I love yarn so much that I built the whole business around books and yarn. So I thought it'd be fun to kind of share a different book, especially at this time of year heading into the holidays. So if you're looking for things to put on your wish list, or if you're looking for gifts for others. So like I mentioned before, the first 2 videos for Vlogmas were both fiction. So today I wanted to talk about a couple of spinning books. And it's not just for spinners though. Like if you are a knitter, or if you crochet and you want to understand a little bit more about yarn and the construction of yarn and how the yarn that you choose can affect the finished item that you knit, these books can be really helpful, even if you have no intention of spinning, like just to understand, because all yarn is not the same, all wool is not the same, and then the way that it's spun, the way, like the construction of it, like there's a lot that goes into yarn. And so as a spinner you can be very intentional in thinking about the finished product that you want to make, and then kind of backing up from that what yarn would be most suitable for that, and then choosing the fleece and spinning it for the purpose of whatever the finished item is that you want to make. Or you can be super spontaneous and just sit down at the wheel and just start spinning, or the spindle. You don't have to spin on a wheel, drop spindle as well. But you can also be spontaneous and just spin whatever kind of, you know, whatever you feel like in the moment. But yeah, so the reason I say all that is, you know, don't just discount these books as only for spinners if you're not a spinner. But we'll kind of look at each one in turn. And there's a lot of overlap between the books, but there's also a lot of differences between them. So both are great books. So this one is Yarnitecture by Gillian Marino. And the tagline of the book is A Knitter's Guide to Spinning, Building Exactly the Yarn You Want. So it does have a bunch of patterns in the back, and so it's let me see how to do this. It has patterns by different designers and very, you know, different types of items, and so they're all they all use hand spun yarn. So yeah, a bunch of different patterns in the back. And then one of the reasons I like this is it just has some beautiful photographs, like lovely pictures of yarn that is, you know, like beautiful texture and colors, and just really it's just a lovely book to look through. So the kind of layout of this book is looking at the yarn vision. So what is the yarn that you're wanting to create? And then she has a section, the foundation. So that's looking at the different breeds. So that includes like wool from sheep, but it also includes Angora, camelids, the big beasts as she calls them. So yak, bison, musk, ox, goats, silk. So it kind of, you know, breaks it down into different categories. And then she gets into the preparations of the fibre. So do you want to spin it woolen or worsted? Also into silk. And then she actually gets into the actual spinning, so drafting and some of the techniques to create the yarn that you want. But again, just lovely photographs. And so as a knitter, it's really helpful to kind of understand like woolen versus worsted, and like how is it spun and how is that going to affect the finished item. And then she also, there's a section, let me see if I can find it real quick, where she gets into like, for spinners it's helpful because she talks about like, is it balanced or is it underplied or overplied, but then also looks at like different samples. Okay, I think I found it here. So for woolen versus worsted spun, this is, you know, a visual of how it looks when it's balanced, under twisted and over twisted, and then the same for the worsted spun, balanced, under twisted and over twisted, and then into different samples of it actually knit up in different ways. So stockinette, lace, cable, and different types of yarn. So that's just helpful. I mean, you know, even if you're not hand spinning it, to just understand the construction of the yarn and how it might knit up into different, and also kind of learning a little bit more about sampling the yarn in this way before you dive into and commit to like a full sweater. You can do this with commercial yarn that you've bought from any yarn store or hand, you know, indie dyer, anywhere that you buy yarn. Just trying a little swatch and seeing, you know, what does it look like? Is this a good match for my project? Because, you know, it's good to know it when you when you're at this stage. Minimal effort and input before you find it out, rather than, you know, 3/4 of the way through a sweater. So yeah, so it, like I say, intended for spinners but also great for anybody who works with yarn. And then the other book is the Spinner's Book of Yarn Designs, Techniques for Creating 80 Yarns, and it's by Sarah Anderson. And so this one is, if you're interested in spinning like art yarn and like boucle or specialty yarn, like different techniques, this is a really good one for that. And so she goes through, I mean, she goes through like preparing the fibre. So here she's carding it, working with coloured wool, and just like different ways to prepare the fibre, including on a drum carder, which is what this guy over here is. So she talks about like, so here she's carding like some gradient yarn, and carding is basically like combing and preparing the, I mean, combing is one preparation, but just to kind of simplify it, it's like preparing the fibre to make it easier to actually draft and, you know, spin it. So here's a lovely picture of just some bats and some lovely fibre in a basket. So anyway, there's a lot at the start there about preparing the fibre, and then she gets into spinning, and she talks about singles and plying. But yeah, lots more kind of, I would say, in the realm of art yarn. So some boucle. And she does break it down to like how to actually spin the yarn in using these techniques. This is one where she's added little beads. I don't know if you can see that. Those little black specks. Those are very small beads that are actually in the yarn. So then when you knit with it, you're adding, you know, the beads are already on the yarn there, ready to be knit up. And then when I first started spinning, I was obsessed with art yarn. And I was obsessed with these, I think they were called beehive. Let's see, does she, back in the day, back in like 2007, I'm pretty sure these used to be called beehive slubs. I don't think I'm making that up. I don't see what she calls it there, but anyway, I was obsessed with that back when I first started spinning. So anyway, lots of cool stuff. Oh, there's some like little cocoons that she's added in. So then obviously when you add this, like, you know, these little funky things into the yarn, like there it is, you know, there's the yarn, and then there it is knit up. So you can just create some like really fun techniques and things. So yeah, yeah, that's the novelty yarn section. So both books, like I say, are, I think they're both great resources. If you are just wanting to understand like regular, as a knitter, like maybe more commercial yarn and how that might knit up and how your choice of yarn affect, I'm realizing I've got like weird lights on me from the window. Yeah, if you wanted to learn like how yarn might knit up and how like things to consider in the type of yarn that you choose for the project, then this is a great one. And if you want to learn a little bit more about art yarn, this is a good one. So I'm going to link them both below. But if you have somebody who is a spinner in your life that you're looking for a gift for, I think both books are great. And then I'm pretty sure most libraries will also have them in. So if you're a knitter and you just want to, you know, check them out and take a look at them and read a little bit more, yeah, I will put the links and the information to them below. And then one of the things that I wanted to show, so all of my fiber, comes in these little braids. And I do this just because it helps it to kind of stay organized, tangle free. You know, it's easy to ship and kind of keep it from kind of getting tangled or whatnot. So I wanted to show you, if you're new to fiber, so you're new to felting or new to spinning, I wanted to show you how to kind of handle this. So one side will basically unzip, meaning you pull it and it will just kind of pull right apart, and the other side will not. So I'm pretty sure this is the side that will not. So I want to show you, if you try and make sure you can see what I'm doing. So right here, both sides have this loose bit that's kind of tucked in like this, right? So like the end of the combed top or the roving. So if you pull it out and then you start to pull on it, one side won't pull, it'll just kind of tighten the, not really a knot, but just kind of, so it'll just tighten it, it won't undo. So if that happens, you want to flip it around to the other side, where you will also find one end, but this time let me move the ladle out of the way, when you pull it, it will just start to unzip, meaning kind of like that. And so before you start spinning it, you're going to want to open it all the way up, and then open it all the way up. So, and then you'll have your fiber ready to start, and you can prepare it however you want. So pull, if you your hands quite wide apart, this is going to be a really simple demo, but you want to make sure that it's quite wide, because if your hands are closer than the length of the staple, you're just going to tug and tug, it's never going to pull apart. So hands are quite wide apart, and you can start to pull and break it by the different color sections if that's what you wanted to do. So yeah, if we were talking about the spinning book, so I thought I'd also grab a roving or a comb top, and show you how to unzip it, because it's something I've been meaning to do a video on for a while and just haven't got around to it. And it's simple and straightforward, but it's one of those things that if you don't know that one end will just pull apart and the other end won't, then sometimes you might be kind of fighting with it. And then putting it back together is basically just a case of kind of looping it back through like that. And I don't think I should say, so this is merino, and this one is our Winter in Concord, so our Little Women colorway on merino. So I think that's it for today. I'm going to get back to shipping some more packages out, shipping some orders out. But thank you for watching. And yeah, that is day 3 of Vlogmas. And I will be back tomorrow for day 4. Bye everyone.
lights are twinkling, streets aglow, frosty rooftops, dusted snow. Carols echo through the town, steady love all around. Oh, I'm wrapped in Christmas cheer. Hearts are warm when winter's here. Laughter rings out loud and clear. Oh, I'm wrapped in Christmas cheer. Gifts beneath the sparkling tree, filled with joy and memories. Candles flicker soft and bright, bringing warmth to the night. Oh, I'm wrapped in Christmas cheer. Hearts are warm when winter's here. Laughter rings out loud and clear. Oh, I'm wrapped in Christmas cheer.